Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by Generals Joe's Reborn.com with me as your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. What is it, Pat?
Full Force Weekly.
Yes, it is. How you doing, my good man?
Doing all right. How you been?
Yeah, not too bad. Missed you for 2 weeks.
It's technically, well, I missed 2 weeks. Yeah, that is true. So it's been 3 since I've been here.
Yeah, so good to have you back. How have you been? You were working last weekend, weren't you?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I was busy working. I had to go to work at like 6 a.m. So it was yeah, I know. It wasn't fun, but that's how it is sometimes, you know.
I know. And then, of course, the week before that, I had to go early because I wasn't going to be available on Saturday. So it's been 2 weeks without Pat, which we were talking about beforehand as both people that have enjoyed Total Recall from 1990. Amazing stuff. Hope everyone's doing well in the comments. Hope everyone's having a very awesome weekend so far, even though it's probably very early on in that process. But yeah, hoping everyone's doing well. We've got a fairly decent amount of stuff to talk about this week. And even if we didn't, we'd still be talking for about 3 hours. So let's get stuck in. Starting, of course, with Chris's book club or comics news. Yeah, anyway, so A Real American Hero issue 306 dropped this week, and it continues the rather intriguing story arc currently gripping Joe fans, with the zombified Serpentor Khan and Mindbender taking on Revanche, Cobra, and the Joes all at once. This issue centers on the fact that Serpentor has sent a fake Zartan to infiltrate Destro's castle, while simultaneously trying to eradicate the real Zartan using a heat-seeking missile. The plan fails, and that starts Zartan off on a quest to figure out why Mars want his head. It looks like all parties see through Serpentor Khan's tactics, however, but they all play dumb until the real game reveals itself. So yeah, this has been, again, another cracking issue. And again, like, I feel like SKYBOUND are just absolutely smashing it out of the park with these issues, whether it's the A Real American Hero continuity or the Energon universe. I feel like it's just been absolutely phenomenal. Pat, I know you're way behind on A Real American Hero, so I won't even ask you if you've been reading these. But this one, I've got to say, it's been really interesting to see, like, Serpentor Khan and what he's trying. Like, he kind of got in bed with Revanche. They kind of made like a little alliance, but clearly he wants them eradicated as well. So there's this kind of like very kind of lots of little chess pieces on the board, basically. And the same thing with Destro and the Baroness. They are basically talking to Zartan. Like, Zartan comes to speak to them, but it's not the real Zartan. It's a Revanche sort of, or like Serpentor Khan's use of Revanche, kind of like doppelganger. And then Zartan ends up kind of getting attacked, finding a little Mars logo on the missile that tried to kill him, and decides to kind of look into why Destro is wanting to kill him, but works out very early on that it probably isn't Destro and that something else is amiss, so afoot. So that is kind of what's happening in the series at the moment. We also see Snake Eyes and Scarlet, although I've kind of completely lost track of what Snake Eyes it is. And we might have to talk. I might have to get Mark in the comments if he's in there to let me know which Snake Eyes it is, because I've completely lost track. It might be the real sort of clone Snake Eyes, or it might be Throwdown, but I can't remember which one it is. So can someone let me know in the comments, because I've completely forgotten where we are with Snake Eyes.
Throwdown, I thought that they used like the shorthand of having one look like the Commando and one look like the Ninja Snake Eyes.
Yeah, I think it's the clone version. We had this conversation on the last A Real American Hero issue that came out, because I'd forgotten which one it was, but I think it's the clone Snake Eyes that we're seeing with Scarlet at the moment. And that clone Snake Eyes can speak. So anyway, yeah, newly cloned Snake Eyes introduced in 300. Thank you, Mark. I thought it was cloned Snake Eyes. The problem is when you've got so many different Snake Eyes floating around, it's hard to know where you're at sometimes, especially with the distance between issues. I feel like the Energon universe is slightly more regular because there are more kind of like issues that fill that universe, so you don't feel like a massive gap between each one. But with A Real American Hero, it does separate them quite. There was quite a while between the two issues, 305 and 306. So yeah. Anyway, yes, since being cloned, he can now talk and is hanging out with Scarlet. Scarlet is treating him much like the original one. Yeah, thank you, Mark. Throwdown is wearing a red headband now. Yes, he is, Rachel. You're right. It is the Snake Eyes averse. It is, isn't it? What are your thoughts on Snake Eyes talking? Don't know, actually. I feel like I can kind of accept it being a cloned version of the character, so it's not like the original. But it is weird, and it does kind of make me kind of like, it takes me back to those issues where he was talking in the original Marvel run, like when he said Scarlet's name and all that kind of stuff, and he was talking a little bit in the Marvel run. So that, I don't know, it kind of takes me back to then, and I remember being a little bit like, huh, at the time. So I don't know. How do you feel about Snake Eyes talking, Pat, just in general?
I mean, that's not a don't ever do it. This is just kind of how I feel about getting to an issue 300, especially with Larry writing. It's like they've got to try different things.
Yeah,
that was the kind of the same thing whenever he was dead. It just you have to keep evolving and changing. You can't have every issue be kind of the same as they were before. And I think it's going to give an exploration of the character that's in a different way. And honestly, there's part of me that's just counting down the time before he'll lose his ability to speak again in some way, just to that bit of familiarity.
Yeah, that's going to happen at any moment now, don't you? Also, shout out to Matt Matson, who says he got featured by Mezco yesterday on their website. Fan feature Friday with a Storm Shadow image. That's awesome, Matt. Really cool stuff. I always like it when people in the comments have been getting features and stuff. That's really awesome. It feels like a build up to another Cobra Civil War, says Pastor Pierogi. I feel like we're kind of already in it. It's like we're in a civil war at the moment, in a sense. It's kind of already, but it's not really, because it's already fragmented. We've already got these separated, very clear factions, but it does feel like a civil war in a sense. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I've just realised I'm way behind on comments. Eben says Skybound has made G.I. Joe relevant in comics again, and the stories are fantastic. With Kirkman at the helm of G.I. Joe, we will finally get that Netflix or Amazon cartoon, because I think it would be fantastic. I can dream. I'm not sure if we'll get that immediately, but you never know the way things are going. Yeah, cool. I think that's everything now. I think they need to differentiate between Throwdown, Snake, and Dawn. Well, Grant, they can. I mean, Dawn is differentiated. Like, you can tell when Dawn's on the page, it's clear which Snake Eyes it is. It's Dawn Moreno. But with Throwdown and Snake Eyes, I'm definitely. I feel like I'm always kind of like, which one am I looking at right now? Even though it's obvious now when we think about it. There's a good letter in the back of 306 about Snake Eyes talking. I will read that after this show, Mark, but thank you for pointing that out. He spoke really well in 155. He was in his letters, wasn't it, basically? I like to think his voice sounds like Kermit, says Pastor Pierogi. That's amazing. Pat, how do you imagine Snake Eyes to sound when he talks?
Realistically, just very raspy. But not this one, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess he could sound like Kermit. There's not anything against that.
What would be the most ridiculous voice he could have? Kermit's probably up there.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Zartan, for the super chat. Very much appreciated. He always gives us super chats. Very appreciative of Zartan. There's only one true Zartan, accept no substitutes. I think you mean accept no substitutes, but we can also accept no substitutes as well. We can like leave them out of the conversation, I guess. But anyway, thank you very much for the super chat. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, and Zartan, it's Zartan, so that's awesome. Or is it Zartan? Is it someone in disguise in the chat? I'm pretty sure it's not.
Maybe it's just always somebody else.
That's a real mind fudge. That is. Anyway, Jody says Snake Eyes should never talk, especially if he sounds like Kermit. I would say. Shorten should wear crimson red. That would be a cool way to differentiate them. Definitely. Is Throwdown up there calling Kamakura in this universe? Why don't they call him Kamakura? That would be so much easier, wouldn't it? They're different universes, though, right?
Yeah.
Kamakura was Devil's Due, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah.
Devil's Due, and honestly, kind of the main G.I. Joe toy line multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't had a Throwdown figure yet, have we? Well, technically, we've had Snake Eyes figures, but we haven't had a Throwdown as Snake Eyes figure yet. I don't even know how you would do that.
Yeah, I mean, just go ahead and just use one as Throwdown. Put two figures on your shelf.
Exactly. Mr. Harmer needs a mini-series just to clarify the status quo on Snake Eyes. What does the clone remember up through issue number? What about Sean and what happened to Dawn being overwhelmed? Ben, I think all of those, I've kind of been... This is what's kind of happened now, isn't it? It's like he's kind of like where he's landed is sort of where they all are in those kind of things. But I have no idea what the clone knows in regards to Snake Eyes. It probably has been said or mentioned in the series, but I missed it, honestly. Anyway, I'm thinking his voice sounding like Clint Eastwood, says Johnny B54. That's a good shout. Yeah, CH says, I like that even though he can now talk, Snakes isn't motor mouthing. He's got a very Clint Eastwood taciturn, minimal dialogue speech. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need a Dawn Moreno figure. Absolutely. A few people have mentioned that already. Airborne's Custom says, making a Snake Eyes figure and calling it Throwdown would confuse all of the general toy fans that don't follow the comics at all. They would actually confuse us as well. Have no fear about that. Oh, and Diana says, I do keep asking what happened to Laura. Yeah, 343. Where is Laura 343? Anyway, that is a Real American Hero 306. If you haven't read it, go get it right now. It's amazing, and check it out. And also, in general, the Skybound comics are great. So phenomenal stuff. And as well as that, we've got the compendium kicking off very soon. This was posted, well, it's probably more like 1 week now, but this was posted like early in the week by Skybound, and of course their compendium Kickstarter kicks off on the 20 something, completely forgot, 28th I think it is. So yeah, we're not too far away. 10 days now, 10 days away. So looking forward to that kicking off. That is pretty much it, I think, for the comics section. We've got some other stuff. We've got some shout outs for Talking Joe later, Mark, so don't you worry, they're in there. Mark says, I think Snake Eyes' voice is like Vic Reeves' high-pitched voice. That is a niche comment. Only you and I and maybe some other UK people will probably understand what that means. Pee Wee Herman says CH as well. That's a good one. That would be a good voice to have, wouldn't it, for Snake Eyes? I'd be up for that. Anyway, that's it for the comics. Let's move on to something that Pat can actually talk about. It's like he hasn't been here for 2 weeks, and the first thing we talk about, he's just had to sit there and listen to me gab on for ages. Anyway, next up we have G.I. Joe Battleground. I mean station. I said Battleground.
I was going to say, yeah, this is not Battleground. I don't know how I'm going to talk about this either because I've not been there or done any of this.
Well, it has. I don't think it's open yet, but G.I. Joe Battle Station, not Battleground, is coming to American Dream in Rutherford, New Jersey. Old sunny NJ. The American Dream Instagram account posted a teaser video showing off the G.I. Joe laser tag zone, which looks to be part of the massive shopping, dining, skiing, water parking and gaming space in the Jewel of the East, New Jersey. We don't have a date for the opening yet, but we should have more info coming very soon. The video was very interesting, actually. We got a lot of kind of images of like this what looks like laser tag sort of setup. You've got there was one person that was kind of, well, a couple of people in the video using like the little laser blasters and the kind of like chest sets and all that kind of stuff, very much in the laser tag kind of environment, in what is effectively a kind of generic GI Joe vehicle sort of zone. So what we've seen, as you can see on this on these images, what looks to be a HISS tank on the left hand side. Kind of has more vibes of like a HISS 2, but it does, I mean, it's probably one of those things where it kind of looks sort of like a HISS tank, but we only have this very small image of it, so we don't really know the breadth of that particular model. But as you can see, there are people running around all over the place in and around this kind of area. There's a person at the top of that HISS tank shooting at someone else that you can just about make out. And the other, the one on the right hand side sort of looks like a generic, almost, it kind of looks like a bit like a whale shape, but is a bit more like, I don't know, more like a generic vehicle. But we'll probably find out when we get there and look at it in real life. Pat. Oh, that's a good point, actually. It does look like a DTC hiss, doesn't it, on the left? Pat, what are your thoughts of G.I. Joe Battleground, having seen some of these cheeky little images?
Or Battle Station, rather.
Why do I keep saying Battleground? What is wrong with me?
Yeah, I don't know. What are the tubes? I mean, that just brings me back to the fun G.I. Joe pink tubes.
I thought that was like a Dr. Mindbender sort of plasma tox sort of laboratory thing, but you're right.
Maybe you have to take out the other guy's power station or something. I don't know.
Well, there's one clip in the video where the guy had his gun in one of those holes of the pipe of those tubes, and it kind of looked like he was charging his gun up. Or it could have been that he was shooting someone through the hole, but I couldn't really work it out. But that's a possibility. Both of those are definitely possibilities there. Obviously, we don't have all the information at hand. Past Progress says those got to have Serpentor's DNA in them. Gross. So that's, you're charging your gun up with like Genghis Khan's DNA and or their plasmatox blasters, which would make it really cool. It's how you reload laser tag weapons. Oh, cool. I didn't realize. So Jim has got some more info on that. Is it a capture the flag style game, says the Figure 6 pack? Don't know. But Pat was saying there's a possibility that it could be you turn off the, you shoot the, you have to, kind of take out their battle station. Because the thing is, you got these, it's lit up like crazy as well. So I'm wondering if it's like a red versus blue scenario.
Yeah, I'm sure that the colors just help kids know which team is which, and would help me know which team is which.
It's to help kids and aging people like us work out what's going on.
I do feel the need to mention Photon, though. Photon.
Hey, everyone's like, of course. Go check out your articulated points video on Photon. That was really cool. And also, good point. That's I wonder if this could lead to having your own store bought laser tag system, like we've seen in the past.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. I think G.I. Joe and laser tag is a good fit.
I mean, well, I remember when they said that there was going to be G.I. Joe related things at American Dream, because Hasbro were doing like a big brand sort of kind of event center sort of thing. And we were thinking Nerf, I think, at the time. I think we were talking about it maybe being like a G.I. Joe Nerf sort of thing. But what would you prefer actually out of those two options, Pat? Do you like the way they're going with this, or do you think Nerf would have been more fun?
Well, I don't know how you'd really handle Nerf. I mean, that'd be a lot of cleanup every single time. So I think, and with Nerf, there's a lot of, you just claim that somebody didn't really hit you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be like, oh, you didn't hit me. It's like, you've got the data already for that. Yeah.
No, so I think that this is a better way to go. And it looks, I'm really curious to see footage of this, or this is one of the things I would like to follow up on, just to see what vehicles and things what vehicles were chosen. I mean, how cool would it be if it was, like the Sunbow rifle that was always meant to be a laser? I didn't watch the video that you were talking about, so I have no idea.
I'll show you the. I should have taken a picture of that guy as well. In fact, I do have one. I'm pretty sure I do.
You should have it should be laser tag, but you all have jump jetpacks, and you have
Oh my
to
god! Could you imagine?
fly around with jump jetpacks shooting at each other.
Imagine the carnage. It would be insanity. Yeah, I'll just get you a shot of what the actual laser rifle looks like, but I don't think it's very Sunbow-esque. No, it's not. It's actually, it's very much your classic sort of lasery shaped.
Okay.
Can you see that?
So they just probably used whatever was already out there somewhere.
And it does look very much so like he is charging his weapon in that tube that you can see. Because if you watch the actual video bit, you see it sort of like charging as he's stuck it in there. I should press play, shouldn't I? There we go. You see how it's kind of like charging up in, and there he's shooting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the situation with that one. But yeah, it's all very, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see more G.I. Joe based sort of fun things like this, because I feel like, we've had a lot very recently in the last like couple of years where we've been talking about adventure camps that didn't quite make it in Malaysia. We talked about in fact, we've been talking about G.I. Joe related theme park things. Remember that like there was a hiss tank and there was a vamp that they were trying to pitch at like a theme park sort of convention, and there was a whole video on how it would work and everything and stuff like that. That didn't seem to go anywhere.
No.
So yeah, it's nice that they're doing this at least.
Yeah, I would imagine that recharging thing is just to force you out so that you don't go hide somewhere.
Or don't do a snipe.
Go into a corner and snipe somewhere.
That would be brilliant. I would love a Nerf Marduce with Mega or XL darts, says Lightfoot. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, yeah. Shelf President says that he thinks it's Energon. That's a good shout as well, actually. Cool.
Yeah.
All right then. So anyway, that is G.I. Joe Battle Station. So I said it right this time. I don't know why I kept saying. Well, I know why I kept saying Battleground, because I've been saying G.I. Joe Battlegrounds for years because of the blooming card and kind of like mobile game. But it's Battle Station. And we should have more information about it very soon. I don't know when it's actually going to be released, or when it's going to be available to, actually go to. But I did message the Hasbro team and say, okay, when are we doing a road trip here? Which was taken in jest, but I'm deadly serious. We should also get the whole crew up there, Pat. We should get everyone to American Dream just to do laser tag and then throw up afterwards, because we're all too old for this shiz.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was a G.I. Joe, like a small meetup or convention near there that everybody could hit that up and then trade some toys or just hang out. That'd be fun.
I wonder how close NJCC is to Rutherford. They can't be too far away.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Yeah.
It can't be too far away. It's only small, New Jersey. Anyway, yeah, that is that. Yeah, that's G.I. Joe Battle Station. More information to come, of course. Next up, we have a little bit of Threezero. Well, a lot of Threezero news. Yes, so Threezero very recently revealed Snake Supreme, Cobra Commander, and Prophet Director Destro as the next Threezero 1/6 scale, that's 12-inch releases. The figures include some new accessories and two rather fetching classified-inspired decos from the Snake Supreme Deluxe and Prophet Director Destro figures from way back, Pat, in 2020. I almost said 1920 then. 2020, 4 years ago already. How has that happened? The figures will be available to order from BBTS and the Threezero website on May 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Although the way BBTS operates, they might put them up a little earlier. Who knows? But there you go. What are your thoughts then? We'll go through. We'll talk Cobra Commander first. What are your thoughts on them doing this?
I think that whenever Snake Supreme came out, the first one came out, we kind of called it in some ways. We actually said, I think if you go back, we actually said that we thought that this was a good pompous version of Cobra Commander where he was ridiculously ornate and that's in character, and that's something that would carry forward very well to future releases of Cobra Commander. I think I recall us talking about that. And
Yeah.
and here we are, and here it is. I do think that I missed the snake tongue end of the cape. I don't see that here.
You're right. That's something I completely missed. I mean, I talked about the capes in a lot of detail actually on the news burst I did, but I was mainly focused on Destro's for how that was slightly different to his previous one. But this, you're totally right. I didn't even think about the snake tongue kind of like, the V cut in the bottom. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't seem to have carried on here. I wonder if it's got anything to do with the fact that they're just repurposing the other cape, and they're just effectively using the same pattern for the cape that's on the other Cobra Commander.
That would make sense. Yeah, I can imagine that being the case. But I do like the fact that they're making the callback to Snake Supreme, because I mean, there's been several different iterations of Regal Cobra Commanders, and I think that they've kind of landed on one that works without adding a lot of new parts. It's one that can be just a redeco of Battle Helmet Cobra Commander, and it looks good.
I also was having a battle with myself at one point, thinking for some reason that the original classified figure, and even this one to a degree, was very, very dark blue and not black. But apparently it is actually black. And I even grabbed the figure and looked at it and I was like, oh no, that's black, clearly. I don't know why I thought, and I've been looking at it for how many years, thinking it was a dark blue. And I think it's got something to do with the fact that the gold and the red play a trick on my eyes with the black as the other color. And I don't know what's going on, but for some reason my eyes were telling me it was a dark, dark blue. Anyway, I asked Lenny the question, and he confirmed, no, it's black. So I don't know what I was thinking. I think I wasn't always the only one as well. There were a few people in the comments that were saying they thought it was dark blue. So I feel like this is the G.I. Joe equivalent of the dress.
Maybe, because I don't know what you're talking about. I never thought that this one was dark blue.
I don't know what I was thinking. I genuinely thought not necessarily this one, but like when the first Snake Supreme came out, even when I had it in hand and just had it on display and I've still got it on display and I look at it every day, for some reason in my head it was dark, very dark blue, but no. So I don't know why I keep going. Yeah, Jedi Ben said that as well. He thinks Matt says it's navy. But there's so many people that this is the dress. In actual fact,
oh wow, no, I never thought that this was dark blue.
Dark blue for me, but I've never owned one, says Pastor Pierogi. Isn't that hilarious? I think it is a trick of the eyes based on the color being used with the gold and the red. That's what I think it is. I think it's almost like tricking your eyes into thinking it's blue. But and again, I think it's like only for certain people as well, because a lot of people were like, no, mate, it's black. You've said it right now. Lenny's even like confirmed that it was jet black is the color that they use for it. It's just hilarious that is the case. Anyway, looks like we've started a new thing, Pat.
Yeah, okay.
But the funny thing is, when I got the figure and looked at it close, I'm like, no, that's definitely not blue. It's 100% black. Like, it's definitely black. So again, I think it's just an eye distance thing that's going on. Anyway, yeah. So there he is without his cape. Still looks pretty cool. One thing I will also say is the original classified figure had a beautiful deco on the back, and it was slightly different because he had that tail on the secondary as well. Let me just go grab that because it's right there. Bear with me 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I will just say while you're off camera that I really liked the texture of the cape. So I would have liked that to have transferred as well. But you didn't hear anything that I just said. I was just talking about the cape. The texture of the cape.
Yeah, so this is also missing. It looks like on the cape, that snake skin
Yeah,
texture,
yeah,
which is a bit of a miss. But there's that V cut you were talking about, the snake tongue kind of V cut,
yeah.
which is missing on the. Let's get a picture of the actual cape. There you go. And also, let's get a picture of the cape where you can see some of the black on the back there. Now, as you can see, there's no snakeskin effect on the 301. one. You can understand that they've repurposed the same cape basically. But the thing I was talking about, Pat, if you move the cape over, on his back, he has that secondary which has like a little
Oh yeah,
skirt, and
yeah.
I never really noticed, but this deco on the back is glorious, and it's like hidden a little bit because obviously you don't see it most of the time. But that, like, if you get a real good close up, the actual like detail on that deco is phenomenal. And that's another thing that's sort of missing with this one, which is a little bit of a shame. But again, really cool. And again, I'm looking at it in certain light, it hits and it's like blue. It's really weird on my eyes. But this one is definitely 100% black when you look closely at it. So it's really weird that that's happening. Anyway, I think that's everything for Cobra Commander. As you can see, he does come with the scepter. He doesn't come with the little globe, which he does. Obviously, the classified version does come with. But that scepter is kind of cool, and I like the fact they've added that little kind of black deco to the handle because the original was just all gold. It was just where is it? There you go.
I really
just
like the shininess of the helmet versus the, the very obviously it is cloth. It's not like they had to add a cloth texture to it. So it looks good, like seeing it like that.
Yeah, it's really nice and shiny. Love it. And then we've got Destro. Now, what do you think of them doing this version, and what do you think of the outcome?
Well, it's just it's still crazy to me how the legend of Pimp Daddy Destro has echoed so many times.
Yeah.
In the form of a toy or a like merchandise item, like a bobblehead or whatever. There's just I kind of wish that I had been doing a mini collection of buying every PDD, whether it's called Profit Director or we know what that stands for. At the same time, I don't want to feel like obligated to continue buying them, but it is kind of tempting to buy this one because it would be neat to have a shelf of nothing but Pimp Daddy Destros.
It would be kind of cool. I think I have. The only one I don't have, I think, is the OG, because that is.
Well, there's a couple of statues. There's like a bobblehead. There's been quite a few different.
Well, I have. I have two of the statues. I have the bust, and I have the other one from Diamond Select Toys, and I have the Funko Pop, I believe, as well.
Right.
I think they did a Funko Pop of that. I want to say they have.
I think they did. Yeah.
I might be misremembering.
I don't have any of that stuff, so I'm way behind.
And I've got this one. The only one I don't have is the OG. I think pretty sure on that one. Do you have the original? Do you have a version?
Yes, I do have it. I do have the original.
Okay, so we can probably pull our resources and do an articulated points, like video on it. That'd be kind of fun, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'll just send you all of the figures I have that for that. Then you can have them all in comparison with each other. Amazing stuff. I think this has turned out really well, though. I've got to admit, I think it looks really good. I love the extra editions, like the padded collar looks so good with that deco on it, with that pattern. The shades are better, I think, in my opinion, on the Threezero figure. I like the fact they've gone with aviators as opposed to the kind of more kind of like, I don't know, like I would say they're a little bit more novelty glasses on the classified figure, kind of squared off tops kind of thing, but like the aviators look friggin' rad. I also like the double chain on the front of the cape as opposed to the single chain. I think that's really dope as well, what they've done there. The only thing that's sort of missing on this one is the kind of the paws on the cape over the shoulders, which it does sort of look like there's something. Yeah, you can see there that they got the legs and the tail still hanging down. Do you know what? I didn't see that image before when we were talking about this on the show. And I did not expect to see the exact thing that I was speculating on. So you can actually see the tail and the two legs hanging from the back. So I'm interested to see what this cape looks like, because it's probably going to obviously look a lot like this, but I'm the fact we haven't seen like an actual shot from the back is a little bit crazy with all these promo images. You think that'd be the one thing they'd focus on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if they put that much work into the back of it, sure. I have to think that somebody really had fun putting this together.
Absolutely. The Threezero figures, I've got to admit, have been really good so far. The ones that I've seen, the ones that I have in hand and the ones that I kind of own are great. And the ones that I've seen other people have, like a little, a few after the fact, look phenomenal as well. I do actually have the Threezero roadblock, I've just remembered, and I haven't opened that yet. So I might check that out today just to get that one out. But these look gorgeous, and I actually like these the PDD and the Snake Supreme more than I like the original Cobra Commander and Destro that came out for SDCC recently.
It just does kind of feel like they're a little more special. Like we definitely haven't had Snake Supreme too many times. This is the second one. But it is kind of weird how we talk a lot about how new iterations of characters can add something to that classic character that echoes later and that gets reused. And I don't know if there's any better example than Pimp Daddy Destro.
There isn't, is there? There isn't at all.
It's so wildly different in some ways, but I'm also looking at this thinking about how that original Destro from 1992 was intended to have a cape, and then he didn't. But over time, the thing that was that tooling, that mold that was based on, now it has a cape.
Right.
And I don't think that was intentional. I just think that was, kind of part of Destro's character. Maybe he'd be somebody that would wear a cape, and so here it is.
Yeah, I guess the Iron Grenadiers one kind of set that tone, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I always like that idea as well of the cape being like kind of connected at one side and it not being, asymmetrical, and it kind of
I like that a lot too.
Yeah, that was a really cool design kind of addition. Really cool stuff. Yeah. Really cool stuff. Yeah, cool.
Plus, even the gold head, because that was an addition to the Pimp Daddy from the 25th.
Just got a new sub from Blind Prime. Thank you very much, Blind Prime, for subscribing to the channel. Very much appreciated. Welcome to the channel. He said he just saw a video where we were mentioned somewhere else and a few other channels didn't know about. So got a new sub. Thank you very much, Blind Prime. I hope you're having a fun weekend. And thank you very much. Welcome to the show and the channel. So yes, I also got to say, I think that briefcase is pretty dope. It's a definite kind of upgrade from the classified version, which is you've got like on one side you've got like a flat piece of section for like the stash of money, and then you've got a laptop on the other. But this one is really, really nice, and the fact you've got this big stack of removable cash that can come out as well, and you've got the little stack, like a little mini stack, and you've got a stack on fire as well, which is pretty cool. So that is a really good addition to this particular figure. That kind of additional, a bit of depth on that thing as well. And I like the angles on the briefcase as well. Let's see if we can, there it is. I kind of like the angular design on it more so than the kind of more standard briefcase design on the classified version.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. It is a little more unique that way. I keep on wanting, like, there was and this is funny too, because that is fitting with Moneybags Destro.
Yeah,
and it always has been. I liked how Moneybags Destro though had different currency.
Yeah,
and I always wanted among the currency, I always wanted a little combat pay in there.
I thought it'd be really cool as well if they'd given him different passports like
Yeah,
different
that'd be
mini, like
fun.
that'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be
I mean,
great.
obviously, though, the just straight up a bunch of cash rather than it being like the international man money bags of Destro. The big thing of cash just kind of fits with Pimp Daddy Destro.
It does more so, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's profiting. Right, and then of course another shot there, of course, of the whole kind of gamut of options you get, and of course his loadout too. So he comes with the little wrist rocket, separate wrist rocket kind of section. He comes with the pistol. What's that other rifle he's got? That kind of snub nose rifle, Pat. What is it that I because I recognize it, but I can't put my finger on it. Is it the Has he had it before? Is it one of these Destro versions?
Oh, I think it's just a callback to 1992 Destro.
It's the 92 one, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, which is kind of that one's the one that looks the most like a Sunbow Cobra Trooper kind of rifle.
You see, I noticed it on the last news burst. Couldn't remember where I'd seen it before, and then forgot to check after the fact. So that's why I was asking you just then.
I can't remember if Prophet Director Destro, if the Classified Series one came with that or not. I really can't remember, but it does look close enough in design to the 92.
It is the 92 one, isn't it, that I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
I recognize. Yeah, it is. It's just a snubbier like a stubbier version of his 1992 rifle, as you can see. That's what I was looking at. Thank you very much, mate, for making that clear.
Do we have a price on this figure? What's this going to cost?
No, not yet, but they usually, if I give me a second, the usual price is what we're talking. It is Threezero store, and usually the GI Joe ones. If you give me 2 seconds to just,
it seems like they've put some more accessories with these, though, so I could actually see them being a little pricier than the standard versions.
So the last one, the Cobra Commando, the Commando Snake Eyes, was $159.99. Okay. So it's going to be between, I think, that kind of 160, 170 kind of vibe, I think, is probably what we're going to be looking at.
Okay.
But that, funny enough, it wasn't too long ago we had that Commando Snake Eyes, the version 4 kind of, what do you call it, homage, which is another really awesome figure. But it's cool that they're doing these versions, and it kind of does add a bit more fuel to the fire that we might be seeing a version 4 Snake Eyes in the Classified series at some point soon, especially with Lenny kind of accidentally, but playing with his childhood version 4 Snake Eyes on one of the interviews from A Toy Kind of Mood. And then, of course, usually when a designer has a certain figure in reachable distance, in his like area, it's for reference. Just saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I could have sworn I saw him with a version 3 Snake Eyes.
Oh, don't make it another 2 weeks, Pat, because it could be. No, that's hilarious. I knew you were going to say that, and I was only really hinting at the version 4 because I wanted to prize the version 3 out of your mouth somehow.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Anyway, yeah, so you're probably looking around about $159.99 to about $170 with these other additional accessories and stuff. But yeah, and other things he comes with. He's got 3 explosives down there as well, and he's got a stack of money on fire, lots of stacks in one lump sum that can lock and remove, come in and out of the briefcase, a ton of the shades, and a ton of hands options as well. So there you go. That is your Threezero, Cobra Commander, and Destro coming very soon. And like I said, I think it was the 21st of May, 9 p.m. Eastern is when they're going up. It could be a little earlier than that on BBTS, though. You know what they're like. So keep an eye out on that. Right. That is Threezero. Next up, we have our last little news kind of segment, and that is our classified updates. Yes, so the classified series Mad Marauders Sergeant Slaughter has landed at US ports according to shipping data. The listing code word Buttercup was noticed by Jedi Jaybird on Twitter. who has previously broken news regarding figures arriving in the United States before. It is likely we might see the Sarge and possibly the Low Light Spirits 2-pack revealed during Yojo June, and maybe even on that 4th of July pre-order drop zone date. So there, yeah, I would say that the high likelihood now of seeing these in June based on this data. What's funny is we haven't seen anything. Just there you go. We haven't seen anything other than those leaked images from months ago that kind of appeared on Reddit. I think ages and ages ago. We haven't seen or heard anything about these, and I wonder if that's because they were leaked at that time. You know, we haven't seen like renders or anything like that.
Yeah, maybe they don't feel the need to tease them now that they've already have been. I'm just still a little bit surprised at how many accessories are in there.
Yeah, I know they've thrown a lot in there, haven't they? I think they're building that one up a bit because the first Sarge, as awesome as it is, was a sort of deluxe figure, even though it wasn't. It was like a single, you know, it was like a premium figure. It was at a premium price, wasn't it? I think it was at like $34.99. But I think that was
Yeah.
more to do with the license than anything else. But the fact that we didn't have a lot of accessories in that particular set, this time they've kind of bumped that out a bit. You've got the gloves, you've got the boxing gloves, you've got the weights from Big Boa, you've got the AKs still in there. Maybe they're bulking out the AKs so that you've got something to give your Snow Serpent retro figure, mate. Maybe that's what they're doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then you've got all the other kind of aspects that you expect with the Sarge's hat, the shades, the whistle, and then of course, and spare hands as well, and of course the mini Sarge in his case. And I'm guessing the baton, but there's like looks like 2 baton spaces there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing where it is.
Between his left leg and the hand options, there are like 2 kind of like
Oh, yeah.
lines like that. But I don't know, maybe just the 1 baton, of course. Anywho, where is our Dreadnought bat, Chris? Come on, homie, we've got to spread that word, says Stygian360. A Dreadnought bat would be phenomenal. But yeah, no sign of a Dreadnought bat in the distance. And they certainly haven't accidentally revealed one since the IG bat. So I'm not saying another word. Yeah, so again, Sarge is getting a lot more stuff this time, and I don't really know what to expect price wise. Probably, I mean, it looks like a deluxe set, this kind of set, so I would imagine $34.99, Pat. But who knows when you're dealing with a license as well? Like, do you think that comes into it again?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would think that this is going to cost extra.
Okay. I'm gonna say they're gonna surprise us at $34.99, but I could see it being like a $44.99 maybe. Anyway, Sarge said he wanted a saluting hand. We can see the 2 extra grip hands, but what is that third hand? Well, it could be a saluting hand. That could be something they've thrown in there as an addition, and you just can't really see it.
Oh, if it's not now, I'll be disappointed. He did ask for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that it's a possibility though, isn't it? Let's face it. Yeah. Maybe they can't really use the chop hand because the chop hand has got like a climbing claw on it, I think. So they can't reuse that, but they could retool it, I guess.
What does Quick Kick have?
That's a great question. I'm sure he does actually. Hang on, hang on. What does he have? Yeah, he has one. He has a chop hand. So that could very easily be reutilized as a saluting hand.
As long as it looks like scaled correctly for, Sarge's sized hands.
I'm going to say I have no idea. But also, yeah, I can't see them not using that hand. Do you know what I mean? If it exists and it fits,
right,
that would be so funny. Although they'll probably do what they usually do and create a completely different but the same hand, just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, they've done a lot of making things specific for specific characters, which is good.
It is actually. I've been surprised sometimes with how they make those choices, because sometimes I've seen things where I'm like, well, they could have just reused that and that would have been so much easier. And then and then other times they'll reuse something, and I thought actually that could have been they should have done something different with that one. So sometimes I guess there's a lot of logistics into this one, and there's also a lot of what's the word, kind of like budgetary concerns and things like that too. Oh, Airborne's customer says it's likely the pointing hand that the first classified Sarge came with. That's a very good point. It could be, or they could have listened to the fans at this point and switched it out. You never know. Oh, I might be imagining things, but didn't Retro Duke have a salute hand? Let's have a look, Mark.
I didn't think he did. I thought that he came with 2 fists and then 2 open hands.
Yeah, it's 2 fists and 2 C grips, basically, that Duke.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No saluting hand for Duke. Although I'll tell you what, that the chopped hand that Quick Kick comes with would have been perfectly fine to go in there with Duke, wouldn't it? That would have made sense. Anyway, yeah, that's that. Also, it kind of begs the question, as well as the Sarge, which again we saw that leak from Reddit many months ago. We've also had a leaked image of the Spirit low light Spirit Iron Knife and Neol 2-pack, 3-pack technically, because the bird counts, for the Mad Marauders. I wonder if this is also going to be revealed. I mean, it feels like you'd be doing both sets, especially if they've been seen at the same time in the leak. You'd expect them to be kind of appearing at the same time in the the line plan as well. So I wonder if we'll see this as well during Yojo June as kind of like a little Marauders sort of kind of special event sort of thing.
I kind of would expect yes, just to be able to get it all pre-ordered at once.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is kind of like you're kind of thinking, I wonder what we're going to get in June. But we know, obviously, we've got the 4th of June pre-order drop. So we know that there's an event on the 4th. That also, would insinuate that with it being Yojo June and what we've seen in the past, we'll probably have multiple things happening throughout the month. There'll probably be like like a video a week, or a pre-recorded, or a pre-order drop a week with a little video to kind of go with it. But the main event, I would imagine, will be on the 4th. And then a lot of people are talking, Pat, about HasLab at the moment. A lot of people are thinking there's going to be another HasLab reveal. First off, do you think that it's likely we'll see that in June?
No, I mean, the Star Wars community has kind of been all over a HasLab leak lately, and I have to think that that's probably a HasLab that's coming soon. And they don't really run multiple HasLabs at the same time, do they? I thought that
they have. Do you remember the end of it was before the it was the Sky Striker, the Ghostbusters plasma backpack thing, and the Star Wars Rancor were all at the same time. And one I think the Ghostbusters one funded first and was like not exactly the same time. They overlapped though. And that was done, and then the Sky Striker and the Rancor kind of came in around about the same time. They were like ever so slightly. It was like a day later, basically, I think.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I mean, but do they like to do that? I guess I should ask.
Well, that was the last time they did. That was the last time I think they did that ridiculous overlapping with HasLabs,
Yeah,
and they realized
I think good idea.
They realized it was a problem. Most of them have been separate since, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, do you honestly think the classified team or the Joe team, do you think they're like confident that it wouldn't really make a difference? Do you think they would do well anyway?
I mean, maybe, but I think that there is still a bit of overlap there, more than even Ghostbusters and Star Wars, because you weren't dealing with like figures and figures. This is something pretty similar. So I don't know. The Ghost and the Dragonfly overlapped a little. Okay.
I think they'll all gonna inevitably overlap a touch, aren't they? They're going to be because you can't. There's not enough time in the in the year to get all these things in their own space.
Yeah. So maybe one will launch and then the other will launch, like, so that they can end a month apart or something like that.
Yeah.
It could happen. I don't know. I mean, what would you expect from a HasLab? Personally, I also think that they should deliver. They should start delivering on the previous one before they launch another one.
Well, we should be getting the Dragonfly this summer, so it wouldn't be like a crazy, overlap. But I get the point. Totally get the point. I think it's one of those things, isn't it, where if you're doing a HasLab every year, then there's just no way you're going to get that delivery before that new one gets revealed.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
Unless they do it where they push it to like the end of the year reveal, and then it just gets
you'd end up getting them less than every 1.5 years or something like that. Then
right.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know what do you see something though that is necessary for a HasLab? I mean, if we didn't have any more HasLabs for GI Joe, I don't know that I would be upset. I don't know that we need a big thing. Like, how much shelf space do we all have? How much?
Oh well, I can tell you now. I can tell you now, nobody has enough shelf space for the amount of HasLabs that Classified is going to be doing. Like, it's just not. It's crazy. But I have already made space on the top of my shelf. I've had to relocate shelf space. I've had to create another display, like almost the same amount of stuff on a different display. That's how crazy it's getting. But I already created the space on the top of this for the Dragonfly to go in, and I already don't believe it's going to fit in there. So yeah, that is definitely a thing. I mean, what appears to be the case at the moment is that the demand is outweighing the practicality, the cost, and the space. The demand outweighs those three things now twice in a row. And I think what would happen is, if the next HasLab happens, right, Pat, which is going to happen, it's inevitable. If that happens and it does the same numbers, similar numbers than the other two does, then you can just go, okay, it doesn't matter. People are going to buy this no matter what, and there's going to be a HasLab every single friggin' year, right? Until those numbers start determining that maybe we're running out of, like it really has with other brands. Like, Star Wars hasn't got the same kind of gravitas with those HasLabs as it once did. This might be, the Cantina might change that. That might change.
Yeah.
But like, it certainly hasn't been firing on all cylinders. There's a bit that two fails with the lightsaber and the Rancor.
Right.
The Ghost ship did really well. So it's definitely not a case of there's no worth doing them. There's certainly,
I'm surprised about that Rancor. That still surprises me. The lightsaber didn't really surprise me, but the Rancor does.
I have to agree with that. I remember us talking about it the day that the kind of Sky Striker was kind of happening. And like, we just had the Rancor fail, and I was genuinely upset. And I hadn't even gone in for it because I wasn't collecting Black Series at the time. But it was one of those things where I was like surprised, but also quite sad that they didn't make it, because I feel like a Rancor in the Black Series is totally fine, doable, not like crazy big. Maybe it was the cost. Maybe it was the fact that they didn't show that the Rancor Keeper was coming with the Rancor from day one.
Right.
Which again still blows my mind. Like, why was that not one of the tiers from day one? Like,
yeah,
that was
I don't know. It's there. I think that there are a lot of missteps with that. Showing off, hey, there's a reveal. You get some cardboard with it.
Right. Yeah.
It was just a bad move. It didn't feel like they were actually supporting it themselves that much. And I think that the fans felt the need to speak with their wallets a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's like these HasLabs, there's some momentum behind them. So they can definitely do a Joe HasLab, but it's weird to me that they have to sit and think of something to fill the availability of everybody spending big, rather than it being front loaded by, wow, I would really like this thing to exist.
Right.
How can we have some effort to make it happen? Oh, we'll invent this thing called HasLab, and then there will be the ability for it to finally, be something that people can have in their collections. Like the fact that we're not sitting here with 10 things that can only happen if
Right.
there is a HasLab. Because to be honest, now that I've gotten the Vamp at retail, essentially at retail, I know that it was an exclusive. It does kind of raise the bar of what I even thought was possible.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, did we even need a HasLab to get a Hiss tank? For the quality of the Hiss tank that we got, probably.
Yeah.
But I think that there's still some stuff that could happen that doesn't need a HasLab. I don't know. I'm just curious, what can they possibly do that will make it worth being a HasLab?
Well, the big talk at the moment is that people are expecting now, which I think is going to be, if it doesn't happen, is going to be one of those things where it just like, you know, everyone gets really depressed and disappointed about it.
Right.
But everyone's expecting a Rattler to be done because of the,
Okay.
you know, that seems to be the hot talk and the hot topic at the moment, which again, like I could see happening. It's one of the jets that isn't as massive as, you know, it's not the biggest jet that the GI Joe has ever produced. You know, like I could see that. I could see the X30. I could see those kind of things being done in that size. They might be a little bit, obviously, a lot too big for retail space or even exclusives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment though about HasLab as that thing of it kind of was a thing because it's like we want this thing to exist in this space. How can we get that to happen? And then it's born out of that. But at the moment, it's definitely more about what fits into this now new price point, this now new yearly price point. What can we get to work with this, you know, with this yearly price point thing? And that's different to everyone is clamoring for this particular thing to be in existence. And the problem is G.I. Joe's got too many way big things that can't work physically, or they've got things that are just so impractical, but that's the only way they could be done, like a Sky Striker, for example. A classified Sky Striker could only be done as a HasLab, and even that might be too big. So, you know, you're not, you kind of, people are talking about the Terradrome and this stuff, and I'm like, how? Like, even if
you know what? To be quite honest, a classified Rattler doesn't really excite me. It's just a Rattler bigger. I don't really need one. But a Terradrome, yeah. I mean, that kind of fits the bill of something that is unrealistic to make, and so therefore maybe it. Like I really think that is too realistic for a HasLab as well.
Yeah, it's too big. And people were saying, well, you should just do segments of it. And it's like, well, then you're buying 4 HasLabs, which are going to be really expensive.
It could be really expensive
to create one thing. I mean, that would be I mean, that's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
And of course, I'm only thinking of a Terradrome because I would want it to be something that I could turn into a 4-inch scale larger Terradrome. That's really the only reason why I would want one.
The beauty part of a set like that, though, would be the fact that it would become the display. Like it would become the shelf. It would become the you're effectively
become the room.
It would become the furniture, wouldn't it? Like that's what it would be. It would be that's where I'm displaying all my figures I've ever had in my life.
You know, honestly, if they were to do that, they really should like figure out a way to give it a glass top so that it can be your coffee table. You know?
Yeah.
They're just going to sell the G.I. Joe coffee table that is also a Terradrome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pass the Pierogi just said the same thing as I was saying that. A Terradrome with a cap so it could become an end table. Yeah. That it kind of would need to.
It would have to be, wouldn't it? It would literally, yeah. Jim Smith says just build an edition and like it, Pat. RKW says space is a future problem. SoCal Joe Show and Toy Convention says my guess is Joe HasLab will be end of month of June and SDCC will have Star Wars HasLab again launched. That sounds about right because it does sound like they could be pushing Star Wars to SDCC. You can always make space. Evict a child or a spouse. Boom, space. That's a good point, Shelf's presence, but I don't think many people would probably agree with getting rid of a child for that. Michael Mercy in the chat. How you doing, Michael? He says HasLab reissue 85 flag with upgrades in the style of the HasLab Sky Striker. Make the deck able to fold up for people who don't have 7 feet of space, so they can at least display the superstructure. That would be kind of crazy. The only way you're getting another flag is in 4-inch scale and is in a HasLab. That's the only way it's ever going to happen. They've already said that you're not getting a classified flag, but Michael Mercy, I like that shout for a 4-inch idea. The Rancor was more so that people were mad about the tiers. Absolutely, Airborne's Customs.
Yeah.
Crispy
like
Happy.
Cardboard tier is no good.
Had the Rancor succeeded, it's possible the Sky Striker might have failed. I don't necessarily agree with that, Rachel. I know that the Sky Striker had a big boost at the end, but every single HasLab does. Every single Kickstarter campaign, every single crowdfunder has a big spike at the last day, no matter what it is. And I would suggest that I don't think all the Star Wars fans were coming off the back of the Rancor not succeeding and going, right, I'm going to put my money in a Sky Striker. You're gonna be, if you're a fan of both, you're buying both. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you're not necessarily a fan of G.I. Joe, and you're not looking to spend that money other than elsewhere. So I don't necessarily agree that it would have failed. Would it have reached every single stretch goal? Probably not. It didn't at the end of the day, did it? So I don't know. I think that there was an element of possibly some people were definitely going in on the Sky Striker because they were a fan of both brands and were like picking and choosing. But I don't think it was that massive a group of people that it made that difference. Again, it lined up with a last day spike as well. What do you think, Pat? Do you agree or not with what I just said there?
I do agree. I do think that there probably were some people that did feel
no
that
doubt
now that they weren't getting the Rancor, that they had the money and that they afforded a Sky Striker. It just kind of made my mind wander to, the fact that the Sky Striker on the secondary market, you could still get one very close to the HasLab price.
Yeah.
And that just kind of makes me wonder, what would the price of it be now if it had reached those stretch goals?
Yeah.
If we had gotten ketchup and mustard. And then my mind wandered to hamburgers and the fact that I'm getting kind of hungry.
We'll bring this to a close, mate. Don't worry. I'm also quite hungry. I want lunch now. It's like 11:10 here. Sorry, lots and lots of comments coming in. I can't get to all of them. Sorry, guys, but appreciate all of the interaction. It's great. Figure Six Pack says, I'm worried that some of the retail store closures might affect the merchandise distribution in the future. Well, it can't be any worse than the distribution we've got going on at the moment, can it? My goodness, it's like one store gets everything and you don't see it anywhere else, it would appear. Yeah, Terradrome with a cap. Finally got to that comment. That's a good idea, that Pastor Pierogi. Yeah, okay. Right, brilliant. Hello, Michael, mate. Good to have you in the chat. Great to see you again. It's been too long since we chatted to Michael Mercy. Massive shout out, and go check his channel out. Not that I have to say that to him, because everyone is already aware of Michael Mercy's channel. So anyway, great to have you in there, bud. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the classified updates this week. Of course, we could just quickly do this for Pat's benefit. Leaked listings 2024. Yeah, what are we likely to see during Yojo June? Well, I would imagine the next standard retail wave of 4, which is that Alpine Iron Grenadier Bat, Iron Grenadiers, and another figure, which I'm not going to slip up on. I swear to you, that is going to stay with me until reveal, I hope, or until it's leaked somewhere else. But we could also see any of the other items that are kind of floating around at the moment as well, like Nemesis Immortal Deluxe, Road Pig and his animal companion, obviously the Marauder Sarge, as we just talked about, the Scrappy, which we're assuming might be Low Light and Spirit. I would say that there's a possibility that we could see those two. Obviously, we're not going to see Raptor or Starduster there for SDCC and PulseCon, respectively. But Fred Deluxe could finally appear. A lot of people are coming to the conclusion, Pat, that Fred Deluxe is the Once a Man Cobra Commander, based on the name only kind of reveal from Emily a few months ago. Could you see that happening? Do you think they're going to be that on the nose with it?
Probably not. I mean, maybe, but
I mean, it's not crazy on the nose,
It
is
isn't
it?
crazy. Yeah, it's not crazy on the nose because it's not like that Cobra Commander is Fred.
Right. That's Battle Armor Cobra
Yeah.
Commander is more likely that kind of thing in it. Yeah.
Right.
But in any case, we still don't know what that is, and I'm really excited to see what that's going to be. Whip Snakes 2 Troop Builder 2-pack. We still don't know what it bloody is, and it's driving me mad. We do know what the Zorak 2-pack is, the Walmart exclusive, but we can't say the other figure in that one. But Night Force Falcon obviously has already been name only dropped, so we can throw that one in there. HB Blossom VH again is an Amazon or Fanmazon exclusive, but we don't know what the deal is with that, and we don't know what it is yet. But a lot of people think Stinger, based on the fact that we've got the Vamp and it's like a retool that could be done, and I tend to agree with that. I think that's a good possibility on that one. And then, of course, we've got the next retro wave, which will include Cobra Commander as Casey, but we don't know who Oki or Azrael are at this time. And of course, we do know leaked wise that the Action Marine and the Action Pilot are rough and ready. So any of those, we could see maybe all of it, maybe some of it in the month.
Yeah, well, not all of it. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to see Raptor and Stardust for sure, but I think there's definitely some of those things we could see. Yeah, for sure over the next month. And of course, we've got July as well to get stuff. I mean, there's going to be stuff. There's going to be SDCC, right? So we know that Raptor is part of that. But we also know that in and around SDCC, they drop other pre-orders as well. We've had like multiples around those conventions. Then, of course, you've got MCM London, which I believe is at the end of this month.
What,
and I'm
really? Already?
I think it is. And I wonder if that's going to be, if they're going to be doing something for that. I don't know if they are, but you never know, do you? They might drop something
Well, they
in and
have
around.
it seems like it's picked up. Yeah, it says May 24th through May 26th. So yeah, you're right.
Crazy pants. Who knows? We'll see, we'll find out, I guess. And then, of course, we've got 2025, which is miles away at this point, but we're still getting information trickling through. So that's awesome as well. We know the standard retail waves of 4 for that first wave and half of the second wave, which is great. And very excited to see those figures done as well. There's 2 MCM London, Chris and Pat, one in May and one in October. That's true, Mark. There are 2 MCM Londons. You're
That's
totally
why
right.
it seemed like it was so familiar, so recent to me.
So recent, yeah, because of the October one, yeah. You're absolutely correct, Mark. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Mark says, can Pat talk about the 3 3/4 Ecto 1 release as revenge for name-only chat, please?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I kind of wonder. Philip was actually just last night showing me the Ecto 1 and comparing it to the other Plasma series Ecto 1. You know, we sometimes just chat. It's not like we do a live chat. We just talk to each other.
What's that like?
You're right.
I haven't just had a chat with someone for years. It's always been in this interview fashion.
Yeah, but he was just showing me some of the differences and showing me kind of the back seats. They kind of face each other. And while Emily said that it will not hold 2 figures in the back seats, I kind of wonder if you can wedge them in. Like if it's just, maybe it would be difficult because the seats face each other. And I wonder, like, if you locked the knees past each other. But Philip says that in hand, it looks like you'd have trouble getting even one leg in between those. But I am also wondering, you know, if somebody could make a kit, like maybe a 3D printed something, you could take it apart and swap out those seats. I'm not entirely convinced that it isn't savable from what exists there. But yeah, I kind of want one, and I'm definitely looking forward to the figures that I think is it the 8th of June that those drop. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. I mean, the price is good for what you're getting.
4 figures as well.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a cool little set. It's nice as well to see other brands in O-ring form as well. Like that's kind of fun.
That's what I'm hoping, that we see a bit of a resurgence. Obviously, the fans are taking things into their own hands and putting out some really cool O-ring stuff. I did pick up the Delta 17 figures, picked up a few of those, and I liked them, and so I ended up picking up the rest.
Awesome.
Didn't intend on going all in on everything that fans have done, but yeah, those are worthwhile. I absolutely love obviously the Skeletron. Do I have that handy? No, I don't have it handy. But the Skeletron figure is amazing.
Oh,
And
it's next level.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to more longbow stuff. We're heading into a period where we're going to get some good O-ring stuff no matter what. But I'm really hoping that it's been a while now. We've gotten plenty of 5 POA stuff. It'd be great to see even more things in O-ring, and I hope the Ghostbusters are just kind of like the early first of it. And why
Yeah.
not give us more Ghostbusters? Even if they did 1 4-pack a year, I would imagine if we got another 4-pack, it would just be them slimed.
Yeah, that would be great, actually. I'd be really into that.
But it would be really cool if we got 4 characters from the new movies as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just before we went on, Classic Toys UK on Twitter, by the way, posted that they just received their ferret. So the ferrets are coming in pretty quick.
So does that mean that those will go back up for pre-order sometime soon? I think before they ship, doesn't it usually go down entirely?
Yeah.
And then they'll ship and then they'll come back. Because a friend of mine missed his pre-order. Well, I missed a pre-order. I did not get one.
They'll pop up like periodically after the fact, no doubt.
That's kind of what I thought. Yeah. Once ship, they'll be available.
We won't have enough heads up, and it'll be an absolute race to who's paying attention online at that point in time. Also, yes, the other thing that was mentioned was that we actually talked about this on I talked about this last week's weekly, Mark, but Hasbro will be working in conjunction with In Demand at the May MCM in London. So they have Hasbro at their booth, basically, which is really cool, and they'll be revealing some new things from a couple of brands. I think it was Star Wars and Marvel, I want to say. I can't remember now. I literally talked about it last week as well, because obviously very close with Nick and Mass and the crew at In Demand. So yeah, big shout out to them, and I wish I could be there. That would be so much fun. Anyway,
I love all the O-ring comments that are happening right now. All the love of 3 3/4 that's happening in the comments right now.
Delta 17 is awesome.
Yes. Pick up some Delta 17 for sure. They have a code if you haven't bought any. There's a code if you buy 6 or more figures to get 10% off. So
absolutely. Would like a HasLab to go with the vintage figure, says Diecast Nick. Absolutely. I definitely think it would be really cool to do another a really good, worth it sort of thing. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to keep saying it. My heart would definitely be in some sort of play set, and it would be in something like an HQ. I think a pit or an HQ would be phenomenal for G.I. Joe 4-inch.
Michael Mercy posted, or in the comments, a pit. Yeah, that's what I would like. That's really what I would like. I think that the Sky Striker funded, but it was just an indication that there's interest. We didn't need a Sky Striker because we already have one. So
50.
What could they do if they actually gave us something else?
I think an HQ would go ballistic, and I know a lot of people would want like a Terradrome again, and you could do a bigger Terradrome and a cooler one with more features, absolutely. But I think something that is definitely missing would be like that Sunbow HQ would be amazing if they could do like something like that, make it really very much like the HQ that you see in the Sunbow cartoon, and then feature the crap out of it. Like literally fill it with cool stuff, and I think it would be brilliant. And I would take that as a, in terms of the kind of like space it would take up, I'd be happy with that. Like I'd just be like, fine, it's a massive playset. Like it would be great.
I would want some runways or something to go with it though too, like just some mats that you could roll out.
That'd be so good. That would actually the mat would be great because it would obviously roll up and save space, but would also create the illusion of size with the thing that came out. That would be so good. Could you imagine if it came with little checkpoints as the entrances as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you have the mat rolls out. You've got like a section for the HQ to sit on, right? Or like half of it maybe. And then you've got like the runway on show. You've got road, kind of like little path roads and stuff kind of going out to like you say, to the edge of the mats where you'd have little checkpoints. And then you could have like a little round, like on another side of the mat, you could have obstacle courses. Oh, it'd be so good.
Yeah. yeah, there's a lot that they really could do with it. Like you're saying, making that feeling of space by filling things in with checkpoints here and there. Man, I can picture that. Just
Oh, I'm gonna design
filling
it
the room
now.
again. Yeah.
I'm gonna design it and I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it to the guys at GI Joe like I used to when I was a kid, and I would send a letter to Action Force or GI Joe HQ and be like, "I've designed a gym for you," and that did actually happen. I did do that. The actual what do you call it? The proof is on our Facebook page. Chucky Tinderbin, one of my favorite ever names ever. Pat, I've got some stories to tell you afterwards about the new gimmick that's happening on the show. Chucky Tinderbin has given us an amazing super chat. Thank you so much, Chucky. Who's Patrick Stewart? Question mark.
I really am Patrick Stewart. It's
There you
me.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's him. But thank you so much, Chucky, for the super chat. That's very, very generous of you, and we really appreciate it.
I was very confused about the picture credits of Dune as a child.
I'll explain the Chucky Tinderbin thing for you later.
Okay.
Right, that's pretty much it for all the news. Let's move on then to shout outs and bring it to a close.
Have you tried Hoarder yet? No? Well, you need to. If you have a collection of things and want to create a fun and easy way of organising it and of course showing it off, then get involved. You can post items and build collections, and you can drop a status like getting a fun delivery or seeing some awesome related stuff on your travels. Build your collections with Hoarder. The app is free to download on Google Play and the App Store, so what are you waiting for? Get to hoarding.
Yay! Shout outs. We'll start with you, Pat, on this one.
Yay! Shout out to Philip, who I was just talking to 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago. Yeah, it's like, oh, better get to sleep. I've got full force in the morning. So
you got to get up for your job Saturday morning, and yeah, you're purely voluntary doing this one. Amazing stuff. Shout out to Phil as well. Articulated Points got one coming up, have we?
I've been working on it, and there's not much time left in the month. So there's one coming up. I just hope that it's sooner rather than later.
That also reminds me I have a monthly to prepare. That's genius. Yeah. Why do I always forget?
It's 12 days. It's less than 2 weeks away, and we're done. We're almost done with the half of the year.
It's nuts. Where is the time gone?
I don't know.
It's Yojo June soon.
I know where my time has gone, but we'll get there in a minute.
Exactly. Anyway, massive shout out to Phil, and of course Pat for the Articulated Points. Massive shout out to my lovely wife Kate and Phoebe, who are currently upstairs hanging out, waiting for me to finish so we can actually get on with our weekend. My bad. And also to the UK and the US fam, we have my mum and dad are traveling from the UK to come and visit us in June, so that'd be awesome. Can't wait for that. So shout out to them, and also, so can't wait for that. And also massive shout out to Brian Sauer, and also the wonderful graphics that he does for us. On top of that, he's got a lot of irons in the fire, and of course Assembly Required is one of them. The GI Joe in-person live convention, which kicks off in Des Moines, Iowa on November the 8th and 9th, 2024. More information will come. But first, before we get to any more of the information in AR, they obviously have to do Operation Armor first. So that's taking all of the time first. So Operation Armor 4 is the online version of Assembly Required. And this is something that's probably been taking up all of Pat's time right now, hasn't it, Pat?
Earlier in the year it did, but it's, in the can and ready to go. Yeah, there's been a lot of effort. I think that this is going to be something that people are really going to want to tune in for. I hope that people are going to want to tune in for, because I put in a lot of work, and I know that I can tell Brian is putting in a lot. I really do like this art, like the way that he has the colors working here, and it looks like, just toxic stuff going down a drain or something.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
Awful, but so original as well.
Mm.
And it's nice. So I'm enjoying what he has going on here, and I've liked some of the reveals he's done for some things coming out for Operation Armor.
Yeah, including really shoots water gear kit 3D print. Well, not 3D printed, but like, you know, cast pieces. Are they cast pieces or 3D printed? I think they might be cast pieces. But anyway, here you have a Eco Warriors green shirt used on the body of Barbecue, the classified Barbecue figure. Now, this little parts kind of section setup comes with the gear kits, and you can create. Here's two of them. You've got basically two different types of green shirts you can create here, which I think is amazing, and utilize this kind of weapon that really shoots water. Here is the unpainted kit. That you get the kind of little like the little weapon, the hose, the secondary, the backpack kind of huge canister, the helmet, the pipes, a little cap for the top of the canister, and a little syringe in order to kind of, I suppose, actually allow the thing to fire, which is pretty cool. So you get that, which is great. And as well as that, in all the gear kits, by getting the gear kits, you actually help the show run, which is effectively what the situation is. And in those gear kits, you get things like this beautiful kind of like blueprints that Brian designs and creates for the Ore Striker here, which is great. And then you can see the silhouette of all the different Ore Striker versions over the years as well, which is really cool. I love these, and I think these are really like low-key kind of like awesome things that come in the gear kits, Pat. I'm not sure, like, I mean, I really like what he does with these.
As do I, yeah. I'm not sure what all's been posted online. I think everything that I've seen has been online. So there's some other stuff in the gear kit that I really particularly liked, but I don't want to say exactly what because I can't remember.
Well, we have the cut-out mask here, which is amazing, the Toxo zombie mask, which is great.
Yep.
Really like classic kids comic book kind of back of a cereal box sort of mask cutout thing, which I always really enjoyed. And the stickers as well, which are really nice too. Again, lots of custom made, really fun stickers. And I know you're smirking at that "what would Finback do" one, aren't you, Pat?
No, actually, I'm just looking. I wouldn't think, like, Brian always thinks of things to make that I wouldn't think to make.
Right.
And the cutout of the zombie face, the mask, that is definitely one that is that's a Brian thing right there. Because I wouldn't have thought of that.
Big time. I love it. I love all this stuff. It's so good. And then, of course, we've also got the chemistry lab kit box.
This is you know what? Yeah, we had this on here. This is the one that I was thinking of. I love this thing because it really looks like it fits a Toxo lab back there in the back corner.
Yeah, it's adorable. And again, this is a 2-in-1 now, because in the past it's been like the box, you get the gear kit box, and inside that you'd get your kind of like diode display. Whereas this time they're utilizing the box as the diode display to make things a little bit easier and more kind of like, you know, compact, which is a genius idea. So again, I think this is the box that everything comes in as well, which is great. And that kind of like Dr. Venom on the front of the chemistry lab kit for kids is just a lovely touch. There's something I just love what he does with this. It's a lot of thought goes into the design. It's like really high end, really good stuff. And of course, Arbco Industries there as well. Brilliant. And then, inside you've got the little Toxo lab, which is just phenomenal as a little bit of display for your figures. It's so cool.
Well, it looks like it's a backdrop for an actual, if you own a Toxo lab, you just place it on there.
Absolutely. And then, you know, you've got a great little display piece to go with all your stuff. Is great. Brilliant stuff. And now, of course, as well as that, so massive shout out, of course, to Armor and to AR, and go and get your gear kits. Link in the description for Codename Iowa's kind of spots. Now, in addition to that, it was the 40th anniversary, funnily enough, that fell on Mother's Day for the first appearance of the Robo Skull in the Battle Action Force comics, which Brian Hickey posted, of course, with the Treasury editions just around the corner. He posted about that on Mother's Day, which was really cool. And that is also... I don't know, like just very cool, as well as the 40th anniversary of the Robo Skull appearing. In that particular issue, we also got let me kind of read this out. So as part of the dramatic Baron Ironblood poster, which was the first ever appearance for, like I said, the Robo Skull in there, and he posted these as well. So this is the Baron Ironblood poster that you got in that issue, which you could also create with, you know, those different issues together, combine them to create that poster, which is awesome. And like I said, commemorates the 40th anniversary. How cool is that, man? And of course, these treasury editions, I'm so excited for these to turn up.
Well, it's just nice to see images like that all mended together. It kind of reminds me of the Milton Bradley puzzles, is what this reminds me of. The G.I. Joe puzzles.
100%,
like,
yeah.
A few of them, put them together. But it is nice to see it all together, because I can't imagine that it would have been easy. How many kids do you suppose cut those apart in order to trim off the edge and tape it together?
I bet a few of them did. I bet a few. I didn't. I didn't have. I wasn't present at that moment really for the Battle Action Force comics, but I certainly did it with Action Force weeklies and monthlies and stuff. Whenever there was something like that, like a poster, it would come out. It would be on the wall. It would be plucked out of the, you know, of the comic, probably ruining it forever. But I was definitely one of those people that enjoyed the posters that came with these things.
Yeah, 100%. It kind of looks like his Han Solo blaster there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it would be. Again, they'd have been using reference from whatever figure they had at hand, and obviously the Han Solo blaster did come with that figure, didn't it?
Yeah, that's most definitely what it is.
Brilliant stuff. I should also shout out mothers for Mother's Day, shouldn't I? Shout out to all there was US Mother's Day at least, but yeah, hope everyone had a lovely Mother's Day, especially all the mothers out there. Toy Connection says thanks for the Delta 17 shout out earlier. There you go, Toy Connections.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. No problem. And as well as that, we've got some Skeletron news as well. Corey Cantaloupe visited the Mr. Chen at the factory to do a final deco review of the Robo Skull vehicle itself, and it looks like he had an absolute blast out there. In what is a very cool looking factory, Mr. Chen's factory. And as you can see there, some good, great shots of the actual Robo Skull as well. Just lovely, lovely stuff. And then another shot there, just showing again another image of the Mark II's final deco review. Looking good, Pat, would you say?
It's constantly been looking good for quite some time now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this in hand. It feels like it's only a very short matter of time now, especially seeing this.
I know, I can't bloody wait. I can't wait. Anyway, yeah, shout out to them. And also shout out to Mark Seddon and Tim Finn of Talking Joe, who have been very busy recently with interviews with artist Jason Howard on the Energon Universe special, the G.I. Joe special. And of course, Tom Riley, Duke artist, of course, on the Energon Universe Duke issues that are out at the moment. And Paul Pelletier, who actually said his name correctly on the video. I've been calling him Pelletier, trying to make it all fancy in French, but it is Pelletier. So a massive shout out to Mark and Tim for doing those interviews. Links in the description for all of those interviews. Go check them out. There's actually some interesting stuff in all of them, including, I want to say, Jason's interview where he talks about, was it Jason's? I might be getting it mixed up. It might be Tom's. Basically, there's in one of the interviews, I think it was Tom actually, who said that when he was doing he does the stinger, there was the stinger in one of the shots in the comic. He says it was something that he had come up with based on the vamp that was out. So it wasn't like they were copying the classified version of the stinger. He was actually just basically creating a stinger based on what the vamp looked like currently. So that was another little bit of info that came out in that interview, but go check it out. It's really cool. Go check out all those interviews. Very awesome stuff. And of course, Andrew Wildman is back at it, guys. This was something that Pat and I were talking about beforehand when we went on, but Andrew Wildman has done a cover for Scarlet, and we couldn't remember what the last thing he did was. Like, Regeneration 1 was obviously the Transformers comic that I think he was involved with early on and did some of the covers for after the fact. But I don't recall anything since then, Pat. But I could be wrong, obviously. But if this feels like a cool return to form.
Yeah, I can't remember anything either. And toward the end of the G.I. Joe run, he had done some stuff. I really liked I really like seeing his name back on G.I. Joe or Transformers. I would like to see him around more often either way. I looked up his name, and it looks like he's been doing a lot of stuff for movies, unless there's another Andrew Wildman that's an artist. His name popped up on IMDb with like really frequent credits.
Interesting.
So, it looks like he's been doing some production work on some stuff. So maybe that's why he's just been busy and not doing comics as much as he probably could.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And again, like, love this cover. I think it's really, really, really awesome. And I love that. I love the black and white, just the kind of actual piece that he did originally. I think that's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, big shout out to Andrew Wildman back on the Joes. And of course, Scarlet is going to be Scarlet and Destro coming very soon, miniseries wise as well. I'm very excited for those. You're loving the Energon universe, brilliant stuff. And of course, Kickley. We're at the end of the show, so it's got to be a Kickley gallery segment. He squeezed out an Optimus Prime and Snake Eyes as well for for the G.I. Joe crew and the Transformers crossover crew. So thank you, Kickley, for that. Always love seeing Kickley's work. Do you know what I forgot to put in here, which I'm gonna have to put in next week? And on my apologies to Ray Murphy, because he did the most beautiful custom. And I was going to shout out on this episode, and I've just forgot to put the images in. So I'll shout you out now anyway, Ray. But we'll highlight it next week.
Next week, okay.
Definitely going to put it in next week. But he did a beautiful custom of classified SAS Sparrowhawk, which I'm just going to show you there. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, I need to see that. Yeah,
it's phenomenal. We're going to add that on next week's show, mate. Really massive apologies for not putting it in this one. That was just me failing massively there. But anyway, shout out to Ray Murphy. Shout out to Kickley for that beautiful artwork. And that brings us to the end of another Full Force Weekly. Pat, thank you very much, mate, for jumping on one more time. And great to have you back after 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you got that. Yeah, he had that 2 weeks panel up at the beginning. So as soon as I saw it, I said, 2 weeks. And I was hoping that he understood what I was talking about. Clearly he did.
I did. I'm a Total Recall fan. Absolutely. Amazing stuff. Anyway, thank you to all the comments, all the people in the chat and everything today. And all of the viewers and listeners, all of your support is very, very appreciated. And to our patrons as well. I did a little Q&A yesterday, squeezed that one out too for you guys. Probably got another one very soon as well, which is going to be great. Thank you so much to everyone. Really appreciate it. Now, stay fresh, cheese bags. And don't forget, at the end of all these episodes, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3.
Full force.
I haven't got the video lined up, so bye.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/TheFullForce. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @TheFullForce Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.